This is a little bit of new, but some things are straight from what you've done before. And obviously the title is domain and range. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about domain and range. Again, domain is the X values, range is the Y values. Okay, here we go. Graph number 1. What is the set of ordered pairs? So what are the points on here? Okay, this point out here, this is over 7 up 1, so that's negative 7, 1. This is over 3 up 4, so that's negative 3, 4. This point down here is at 0, negative 4, 2, 0. And this one down here is at over 6, down 7. So there's your ordered pairs. And 6, negative 7. Okay, there's our ordered pairs. Now, domain. Domain is the X values. Remember, we have our little brackets on the outside of them. Domain are the X values. So look at our X values. And we want to put them in order from least to greatest. So these are already in order from least to greatest. So negative 7. Then we got negative 3. Ooh. And then we have 0. We have 2. We have 6. Okay, those are our X values. Y values, because that's the range. What is the range? That's Y values. So now we got 1, 4, negative 4, 0, negative 7. The smallest one is negative 7, so that's what we're going to start with. Got our brackets. We got negative 7. The next one would be negative 4. And then we go 0. We go 1, which is right here, 1, and 4 would be the last one. 4 right there. Those are the Y values in order from least to greatest. That's our range. All right. Next question says, is it a function? Yes, it's a function. How do I know it's a function? None of the X values are the same. None of the X values are on top. None of these are on top of each other. So Y, the X's are different. Got abbreviation going on. And if you remember, this passes the VLT, the vertical line test, which is, if I were to take a vertical line and pass it through that graph, it only hits 1 point at a time. It never hits 2 points at the same time. This is called a discrete function. The reason it's discrete is because the graph consists of separate points, which means it's broken up. There's no lines through here. It's separate points. Okay, that's what a discrete function is. It's separate points. All right. Next example, number 2. Graph number 2, this is a linear function. It's a line. Okay, linear function, great. We know that the line continues both directions. So what happens to the X values? Okay, as we go to the left, we go up this line to the left, it keeps going. It's going to keep going on to the left. So X, and the same thing is true if we go to the right. It's going to keep going out to the right. X gets bigger. It also gets smaller. It goes forever in both directions. Okay, what about the Y values? Y values, it goes up forever, it goes down forever. Y gets bigger. Y gets smaller. If you remember back, whenever it goes in both directions forever, we ought to be thinking, hey, this is going to be all reals, all real numbers. So with the domain, all reals. The range, all reals. This graph has no breaks. So see how it's a line? There's no breaks. It's a solid line. That's called a continuous. And remember, if it were to be just points on here, if it were to be separated or have separate points, that's where we would have a discrete function. Number 3 gives us, okay, graph 3 gives us, this is a segment. This is not a full line because it doesn't go on forever in both directions. So now we're talking about a line segment. All right, let's talk again. This is domain and range, so let's talk domain and range. What is the smallest value of X? So here's our X-axis. Here's our Y-axis. Smallest value of X. So the smallest value of X is going to be the furthest over here to the left side. I know it's going to be that point right there. Well, that's at 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4. So the smallest value is negative 4. Largest value would be this point over here. Largest value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. the domain is the set of all x values. So here's the line. It's a line segment. So we want to know the x values, the domain, the x values. The smallest is 4, which we said the smallest was 4. The largest is 5. Say it was 5. So the domain is going to be between 4 and 5. It's x value, so we use x in the middle. We have a solid circle on the dot. That's a solid, so for this sign, we're going to put a line underneath it. This is an open circle. For this sign, we just leave it as a less than sign. So this says x is between -4 and 5. X is greater than or equal to -4. X is less than 5. Those are the possible x values. That is the domain, x values. Same thing we're going to do, but now we're going to switch gears. We're going to do the y, smallest value y. Okay, so y, that's up and down. Again, there's our y-axis, up and down. The smallest would be the furthest down here, which would be this point right here, which is at -2. -2. The largest is way up here. This point right here, it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this largest would be 7. Now, same thing we did for the range. The range is the y values. The smallest we said was -2. The largest we said was 7. So your y is going to be between -2 and 7. And what signs do we use? Again, this is a solid circle, so you want to use a line underneath it. This is an open circle, so you want to use a less than sign. Is this discrete or continuous? This line segment, does it have any breaks in it? Are there any just points on it? Or is it just, it's a line. It's continuous. There's no breaks. Let's put right here, no breaks in it. Alright, let's flip over to the back side. Making good time here. Here we go. Make sure we can see this thing. Alright, what is the smallest value of x for graph number 4? So again, x values. So we're talking x-axis. Here's your x-axis. Talking x-axis. Smallest value would be over here to the left. This line shows that it's going off to the left. And it keeps going over here. It keeps going forever. So is there a smallest one? No, there's none. What about the largest value? Okay, to the right. Largest value would be at 1, 2, 3, 4. Largest would be 4. Now let's look at the y values. So there's our y-axis. What is the smallest value? So furthest down here, it's this point right here, which is it's actually at 2. Largest value, it looks like that line keeps going up. It's going to go up forever. There is no largest value. Okay, so domain, that's x values, x. It doesn't have a minimum, but the largest it could be is 4. So x has got to be less than 4. Doesn't include 4 because it's an open circle. That's why we have a less than sign. What about the y values, the range? We said the smallest it could be is 2, and then it goes up forever. So y has got to be greater than 2. The y values. 2 is the smallest, and then it goes up to infinity. So y is going to be greater than 2. This is a continuous graph. There's no breaks in it. It's a line, keeps going. It's actually a line segment. Number 5. Smallest value of x for graph number 5. Okay. The smallest value of x. So again, x. Here's our x-axis. Smallest value is going to be over here. That's this point right here. That is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's at -5. Largest value. Largest value would be over here. That's this point. 1, 2, 3. Largest value would be at 3. What is the smallest y value? Smallest y value. Okay, so now we're talking about y-axis. Talking about the y-axis. Smallest y value would be this point right here. 1, 2, 3. That'd be at -3. The largest value would be this point up here. That's the vertex, the very top down here, up there. That was at 9. So let's talk about domain and range. Domain, that's x values. We said it was from -5 to 3. So we got our x, we got -5 over here. It's the smallest. 3 is our biggest. These are all solid circles, so that would be less than equal to, less than equal to. Range, that's our y values. Range we said was from -3 to 9. So we got -3 on this side. We got 9 over here. Solid circles, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. And there are no breaks in this, so it is continuous. What is the domain and range of number 6? Okay, number 6, here we go. Now, got to think about this. Let's talk about x values. So we go domain first. Domain, x values. What's the smallest? Way over here to the left. I have an arrow. That would keep going out to the left. So it's going to keep going to the left forever. Okay, what about the largest? Going to keep going out here to the right forever. So it could cover the whole, it could keep going to the right, it could keep going to the left. The domain, your x values, is going to be all reals. Your range. So now let's look at the y values. Okay, what's your smallest y value? It's this point right here. It's that point right there. That's at -1. What's your largest? Well, it keeps going up forever. It keeps going up forever, so it's going to keep going up to infinity. All I know is that y has got to be greater than or equal to -1. So y has got to be greater than, equal to -1. There's no breaks in it, so this is a continuous graph. All right, almost done, guys. Stay with me here. Number 7. The graph, the equation they give us is y equals 5x. You can plug that in your calculator, but if you want to know what the graph of y equals 5x, it's going to look something like that. Graph going both directions. I know it goes to the right forever, goes to the left forever, so your x values, your domain, that's going to be all reals. It goes up to, it goes down both directions. Your range, your y values will be all reals. There's no breaks in that line, so that would be continuous. And then the last one on here says Craig received a gift card for $15 for his MP3 player. Each song costs $150. Okay, so you have $15. Every time you buy a song, you take one off. So I made a little table here because we got to figure out the domain. We got to figure out the x values. We got to figure out the y values. So we got the number of songs as x values. We got the gift card as the y values. Okay, so if we had bought 0 songs, well, the gift card has $15. If we bought one song was $150, so we subtract 150 from 15. That's where I got $13.50. 2 songs would be $12. 3 songs goes down to $10.50. 4 songs go down to $9. 5 songs $7.50. Y'all can see the pattern. It's just going down by $150. 6 songs $6. 7 songs $4.50. 8 songs $3. 9 songs $1.50. 10 songs have $0. Okay, so now we have some values. We got x's and we got y's. We got our x's and we got our y's. So domain, that's x values. Got your brackets. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Put commas in between them to separate those numbers, so I don't think this is a big, long number. Close those brackets. Bingo. Range, that's your y values. That's your other numbers. So that is, again, it's always least to greatest. So that's something you could put over here in the questions. Domain and range, always least to greatest. Y values, going to start at the bottom. 0, 150, 3, 450. So 0, 150, 3, 450, 6, 750, 9, 1050, 12, 1350, and 15. Close your brackets. You got your domain and range. Now, think about this. Can you buy a part of a song for less money? No. It's just these points. So that on the graph, so if you had a graph, okay, 0, 15, that would be up here. 1, okay, you'd have that. You'd have points going down. You'd have points going down. They don't touch each other because, again, you can't borrow part of a song. So this would be a discrete because it's broken up. It's just points. All right, we're going to pick up there tomorrow. We'll talk about domain and range. Hope you all have a great evening.